Jussie Smollett, who thought he was in the clear after the state's attorney dropped the 16 felony charges against him for allegedly lying to cops about that homophobic attack. Well, those charges have mostly been reinstated.
It was almost coming up on a year ago that the prosecutors shockingly dropped all 16 counts against him, but today a grand jury handed up 6 counts. Now it's 6 counts against Jussie.
It's the same thing. I mean, this is the exact same thing as before. They're saying he lied to cops. Remember, the first time around, there were 16 charges, but there were really only 8 alleged lies. It's just he told them twice, so the grand jury nailed him for all of them. Here, what the grand jury is saying is, look,
there were really only 6 lies.
We're really only looking at 6 lies, but there are 6 felony lies. And the special prosecutor who took this to the grand jury was critical of the state's attorney for dropping this case in the first place, because
pointing out that when they went to the grand jury the first time around, they had the evidence that they presented to the grand jury, and nothing had changed. Nothing had changed from.
There was no new evidence.
That was in February last year when they went to the grand jury. They got the 16 counts, and then in March, suddenly they just dropped it all. So
and the special prosecutor said there was no new evidence for them to justify dropping it. So the special prosecutor essentially schooled the state's attorney for dropping this case and has now reinstituted. Now, Jussie Smollett, for his part, we are told he is going to fight this tooth and nail. He is going to plead not guilty. The arraignment is set for February 24th.
Yeah, yes. Harvey, what's really interesting here is Dan Webb, the special prosecutor, said, look, nothing changed. And I asked them, one of the things the state attorney said was, this is how we resolve cases. And he said, okay, give me evidence of how you've resolved cases like this in the past. And he said he was not given a satisfactory answer, and that's why he had to reinstitute the charges. He said, there's too much lying to cops here.
And a lot of people were really critical of the state's attorney's office for dropping this thing. And it seems like the special prosecutor is in line with that.
Yes.
Really does. Now, Jussie faces 3 years in prison if convicted.
He's convicted of all of this.
It's not 3 for each count. This is the kind of thing where it would be 3 total because it's lying to cops in one incident. So the maximum he would face, would be 3 years in prison if convicted. But again, he is going to fight this tooth and nail. So
yeah, and here's something interesting. The Osendero brothers have also come out already and said, hey, we want the truth out there. We stand ready to cooperate with the prosecutors on this new charge against Jussie.
Right. Now, just to refresh your memory, they're the brothers who were detained by police, and they're the ones who essentially flipped on Jussie, they say, and told police that he hired them to stage the whole thing.
Now, the one final thing, that the loose end that I'm not sure how to tie up, is the city of Chicago is currently suing Jussie Smollett for the cost of investigating this. I don't know that they are going to go forward with that because that could interfere with this other prosecution. And if Jussie Smollett gets convicted, then presumably as restitution, they would order repayment to the police department.
And then there would be no reason for the city to be
There is one reason, which is that to get a conviction in the criminal court, you have to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. In the civil venue, which is where they are, it's much easier because it's just tipping the scales slightly more likely than not. So that would suggest...
It's called a preponderance of the evidence.
I thought I would help. I would dumb it down for you.
Take him to school, Charles. Take him to school. It's been a long time.
That's right.
I was dumbing it down for him, Derek.
This is Max from North Carolina. I think there might be just a missing piece here or something that just we're not getting, because otherwise, what's the point of reopening this case? It seemed like everything was resolved in terms of the charges being dismissed.
No, I can
the problem is that law enforcement in Chicago,
resolved.
The law enforcement in Chicago never felt good about the way that